Hello lovely people, welcome to another book chat. Okay, so being behind the times as ever, today's book chat is going to be about a book I just picked up recently. Now this author, I've had her probably most well-known book on my Kindle for 2 years. Longer, probably longer, with absolutely no excuse for that other than the fact that if there is a paper book present I will always read the paper book first, except if I'm travelling, which is when my Kindle gets the most of its use. So yeah, so that book is The End of Mr. Y by Scarlett Thomas. This is not The End of Mr. Y, this is Bright Young Things. Having recently discovered the joy of a pretty cover, that really, I saw it in the bookshop and I was like, oh, I like that, that's very cool. And then the blurb sounded completely fascinating. So basically, these individuals in their early 20s, they're all a little bit lost. None of them are quite certain what they're really doing in the world or doing with their lives. And they answer a newspaper ad. This is set in sort of the late 90s, so people are still answering newspaper ads for employment, which I guess that still happens. So this newspaper ad just says it's looking for bright young things. And they travel to Edinburgh for a job interview, and the next thing they know, with no idea how they got there, they wind up on a desert island. It is not a tropical desert island, no matter what that looks like, but there is a house and it is stocked full of food, there's a generator, but there is no way off and no way of contacting the outside world. And it was just a really interesting read. The characters were really well drawn. There was this real sense of not knowing your place in the world, of being very confused and very stressed by how hard it is to find your own path and find your life. And then the way all these very different individuals all interacted together and the choices they made as far as how they were going to cope with the situation they found themselves in. And I found it great. I found it is definitely very, very well written, and I am charging my Kindle so that I can actually read The End of Mr. Y. And yeah, she's a fantastic author, just great characterization, great dialogue, and the situation itself was just like nicely, mildly bonkers, really. So yeah, definitely, I would definitely recommend that one. Bright Young Things. It is a really good read. It's not a difficult read. I read it really quickly. You can read a lot more into it as well. It's certainly one of those ones where I kept sort of thinking back to it later and going, oh yeah, no, that was interesting. It has got a lot of pop culture references in it, which the sort of mid-90s through to the 2000s, I didn't even really notice the fact that the internet was a thing, because I was living somewhere where phone lines were dodgy. So yeah, we didn't have TV or anything like that. So yeah, I missed a lot of the general sort of pop culture of the 90s, so you probably get even more out of it if you actually were around at that sort of turn of the millennium and that sort of thing. And yeah, so what do you think, lovely people? Have you read it? Have you read any of her other books? Have you ever done that sort of stumbling across something completely random in a second-hand bookstore and discovering a completely wonderful new author? Let me know in the comments. Alright, lovely to talk to you. Bye!